Thank you very much for coming. You probably already know this. I'm Simon Jones. I'm the head of string performance. It's really nice to have a chance to talk to you like this. I'm very grateful to all of the people who've joined me to help, lots of special people. I just want to introduce you to some important people. Tim Rees-Evans, who is our Director of Music.
Morning, everyone. Thank you for calling me important, Simon. Ego. Yeah, hi everyone. I've been director of music since the beginning of April at the college, and it's great to see you. I look forward to hearing you in audition and to meeting you one day, perhaps.
Thank you, Tim. And the other very important person is our head of performance, Kevin Price.
Hi everyone, thanks for being with us. You'll hear from me in a minute about what you need to do when you audition, but for now it's just really lovely to see you. Thanks for being with us. Back to you, Simon.
Thanks, Kevin. And of course, the college is all about the students and the students' experience. And I'm really happy that four lovely students have joined us today, and they're going to each talk about one particular aspect of their experience as students. I'm going to ask them to introduce themselves rather than tell you their names now and then you'll forget them. And so there are four people to talk to you, and we're going to start with Jordan. Hopefully. Are you there, Jordan?
Hello. Hi, I'm Jordan. I'm just finished my fourth year at Royal Welsh, and I'm going to talk to you about the day in the life of an undergrad student. So I could tell you about an average day of an undergrad student. However, in 4 years, I don't think there's ever actually been 2 days that have been the same. It is an incredible experience. So you'll start off your days at the Liberty Halls, which Misha is going to talk to you about in a bit. And you'll end up at college, do some practice. You've got loads of practice rooms at college in 2 separate buildings, which you can book up to 3 hours a day in. And then at the start, when you first arrive at college, Simon will help you assign a chamber group. Now, chamber music has been a personal highlight for me. I've had my quartet since the very first week, and it's just been absolutely amazing to play with 4 people every week. And we've had some great concerts and performances. With your chamber group, you'll get to do some work with the Albion String Quartet. They're our quartet in residence, and they come in, do concerts, and loads of coaching, at least I think it's 2 times a term. There's also been various other quartets come in, like the Castellian and the Emerson Quartet. So I'm briefly going to mention the orchestras because I know Lottie's going to talk about performances in a bit. However, all I would say is if you do end up coming to Royal Welsh, just take part in as much as possible. I found that at the end of every term, I'm absolutely shattered, but it is worth it. So with your more academic classes, you'll start off in first year with harmony and aural. And then we've got musical contexts, which are more like history of music, and you'll have a breadth of knowledge from James Lee, who's absolutely fantastic. And then when you get into like 3rd and 4th year, you get to become more specific in the modules that you choose. So I chose the biology of musicians and the psychology of performance, and that actually led me on to do my entire dissertation on perfectionism. So that was really quite insightful. But there's also, I think, there's composition, there's recording for radio, there's concert planning. So you really do get a breadth of everything, and you don't have to specifically do performance. So yeah, that's an undergrad life.
Thank you, Jordan. And Tabitha.
Hello, I'm Tabitha. I'm just finished actually the 2nd year of my masters here. I'm a cellist, so I'm going to talk to you about sort of the life of a postgrad in the string department. So I think one of the key things which I felt that there was never a divide between the undergrads and the postgrads. So postgrads are all in the same classes in the string department as the undergrads, but we also have our own classes too. So sort of get the best of both. So I decided very early on in my course to say yes to as much as possible. And so soon my schedule was packed full of so many different activities. So I'd be in every morning at 7:30 and I could be until 9 p.m. and have a full day. This was my choice, of course. But in my opinion, if you're coming back for a master's, you clearly are enjoying studying. So you want to make as much of it as possible. So if you're proactive and organised, there's so much available. I studied at a different UK conservatoire for my undergraduate, and in comparison, in one term here at Royal Welsh, I had more to do than a whole academic year at my previous institution. So there's so much available here. So just to kind of give you an idea of what a day could look like, you've obviously got your personal practice. So there's a fantastic booking system called Azimuth. You book rooms, you have to be organised in order to get your rooms, but that's the same wherever you study. So there's chamber music. I'd say just try out lots and lots and lots of different groups, because you're never going to learn too much repertoire. So you might as well get into loads of groups and try out, see what works for you. So orchestra, you get 1 or 2 projects a term. You get these at the beginning of each term, so you see a sort of skeleton of your schedule for orchestral projects at the beginning, and then you take on more sort of repco projects, which I think Lottie's going to cover later on. So you can get coaching, regular coaching all the time for your chamber music groups. There's lots on offer for historical performance. So there's so many fantastic different staff members, and they can always give coaching, one-on-one lessons, rehearsals with harpsichord, forte piano. Then as for performance classes, they happen almost every week. So they're sort of more informal chance to perform, but also gives you something to work towards. There are performance classes specific for instruments. So, for instance, there'll be a class on the Romantic Concerto for cellists, Beethoven sonatas for violinists. They're sort of tailored to a specific theme. So again, another chance to perform. And then, of course, there are master classes, and they happen throughout the whole year for different instruments. So whether you're playing or attending, you always learn so much, and we have fantastic visiting artists. And then there are placements with the BBC Orchestra and Welsh National Opera. So these are for people on the orchestral masters or third years and above who've successfully auditioned. So of course that's a fantastic experience playing in that professional capacity with professional musicians. And then on top of all that, there are gigs and concerts outside of college, and you sort of get these from knowing people by attending classes and participating in loads of projects. That leads to stuff outside of college. So, all this must sound like too much, if that's even possible. But I feel after doing 2 years here, I've been provided with so many different skills to prepare me for the competitive world.
Thank you, Tabitha. That's great. Lottie, you're going to talk about something slightly related, aren't you?
Hello. Yes, I am. I'm Lottie. I am graduating this year. This week actually, and I'm a violinist. So I'm going to talk to you about performance opportunities. So from the start of college, even in your first year, there are so many opportunities to perform. In your first week, we usually have junior or senior string ensemble, which is like an immersive week. You get to mix with everyone. You do rehearsals all through the week, and then culminating in a concert at the end. And these are usually taken by different tutors at college. You're really encouraged to join lots of chamber groups, piano trios, quartets. And if you start those really early, then you can make a really good bond by the end of the 4th year. And there's also Chamber Tuesday, which happens every Tuesday evening in the main foyer of college. And that is a place to perform as your ensemble. So that's a really good thing. We get our resident quartet in residence is the Albion Quartet, and they come in 3 times each term and do coaching and masterclasses. And they've been brilliant. I've been really lucky to have them. And there's also lots of masterclasses from other quartets that come in. Unlike some other conservatoires, first years sometimes don't get to participate in many actual performing ensembles. Here we are really lucky because from your first week you're performing, and things like symphony orchestra and the big ensembles that get to perform in St David's Hall, you get to be a part of. So we are really lucky. There's symphony orchestra, chamber orchestra, opera, musical theatre, whatever sort of takes your pick. You find out at the start of each term what ensemble you're in, but if you have a really strong preference for one, you're always welcome to speak to Simon, I think, and he can try and guide you and put you in what if you have a real passion for it. In terms of symphony orchestra, the first term you do it with choir, and then second term is a kids concert. We perform to about 1,000 children, and that's always a really, really fun one. As well as another orchestra is String Soloists, which is one of the only orchestras that we actually have to audition for. Sort of a much smaller ensemble, and we've had some amazing people come and work with us. So it happens every term. We've had Nicola Benedetti came and did a session, a weekend with us. Gergiev, Anthony Marwood. We've had some really fantastic players, and these are really inspiring projects. One of the great things at Royal Welsh is that you can do things that you wouldn't normally do, I think. There's lots of opportunity to be your own person and to be really adventurous. Some of my favourite projects, we did Harold Floyd silent movie. We played the music to that, and that was like a really different thing that I never thought you'd do. And we did a similar one with we're going on a bear hunt whilst the screen was being played, and the composer of the music actually conducted it for us, which was really cool. In second year, you also get the opportunity to do a viol consort, which is quite unique, I think. There's lots of historically informed performance opportunities. Rachel Podger came in, and she teaches quite often. So we have some really brilliant teachers in that department. Like Tabitha touched on, there's also Repco, which each term is, we have it for, actually it's spread out over the term now. And it's an opportunity to, if you have any sort of passion to produce a concert or anything really, combining any students, it's an opportunity to do so. And it's funded by the college. You can perform in the main Dora at Stoutscore Hall or the other theatres. In second year, me and my friend Jordan, actually, we did a folk group and we put on a folk night in the SU. But there's so many, like each year you can participate in it as much or as little as you like. So it's a really great opportunity to do something a bit different. And also, like Tabitha touched on, there is placement as well. I think in Cardiff, we're super lucky being the only conservatoire, and we've got 2 professional orchestras right next to us. So we are super lucky that we can work with those teachers and players. And if you're successful in the auditions, then you do get to go on placement with them. So that's another really good performance opportunity.
That's great. Thank you, Lottie. That's great. And last but not least at all, we have Misha, who's going to talk a bit about living in halls and various associated things. Hello, Misha.
Hello, yes, my name's Misha Jardine. I've just finished first year at Royal Welsh College studying cello. So every year, you're more than likely to be put in recommended halls provided by Liberty Living, which is a 15-minute walk from college and about a 20 to 25-minute walk to town. It's got a new common room, washing room, and a lovely 24-hour reception who collect all your mail, so no need to worry about parcels and deliveries and all like that. You'll be in a flat with about 6 people. You each have your own room and your own ensuite and a shared kitchen. These people will be from college, but you can be in a mix of courses. So you can have actors, designers, musicians, all in one flat. I had 2 other musicians and 2 stage managers. And make friends with them because you never know when you will be working with them maybe in the future. So halls work out to be about £132 per week, including bills. But when you go into second year, you move into a house. You can choose to stay in halls if you wish, but a lot of people do move out into the house, and you can choose who you want to be with within your house and within your halls. So you get a little leaflet and a box just to tick with who you'd like to be with. I ended up with a mixed halls because that's what I asked for. It's a cheap and cheerful city. It's actually the cheapest city in the UK. And how I describe Cardiff to everyone is like a mini London. There's no hassle of travel. Everything is so close. You have city life, you have sea life, you have the green life. And actually just outside of the Royal Welsh College is an amazing Bute Park, which is beautiful. I miss it a lot, actually. And you also have the Cardiff Bay, and you have some good nightlife as well. So the first week is Freshers Week, of course, which can be very overwhelming, but it is so fun. You meet all your friends and your colleagues and all the other artists within the college. And then Simon has a lovely warm welcome to all the first years. And I do remember very clearly that we had Manchester Collective come in, and we were outside in the Anthony Hopkins Centre making music with and without our instruments, and it's just a great way to meet everyone. It's a day I'll never forget. We have masterclasses throughout the year, international and local artists, and these masterclasses usually take place before or after they give a concert. So I didn't finish my final term due to the lockdown, but usually it consists of a summer ball, saying goodbye and farewell to all the fourth years and the postgrads. All go to see their final recitals and lots of picnics in Bute Park. Repco, as Tabitha and Lottie mentioned, just to clarify, Repco is a student-led creative project that college helped to fund and produce. Events which you can be involved in as many or as little as you want. And that is the life really of living in halls and the beautiful city of Cardiff.
Thank you, Misha. Thank you all of you. That was really interesting. I think Kevin is now going to just speak about auditions, in particular with reference to those that will be auditioning this for in September, October this year.
Thank you, Simon. And also thank you to an amazing team of students. Tim and I always have a chat after these sessions, and we're always struck by the kind of journey that you have through the cycle of study at the college, and the sense that you come in as very much, you know, from school, and there's a student-teacher relationship which really develops as you find your kind of professional shape and your artistic personality. And by the end of the course, you're very, very much in the mold of fellow colleagues. And it's so interesting hearing, you know, your views of the college, and actually makes us really miss being there in person with you. So thanks so much for what you've contributed this morning. For those of you who are really interested in becoming part of the college family, the audition process will be online this year. We've decided to do that for health and safety reasons, and also to just do online auditions for everybody to make sure that everybody has an equal opportunity and equal experience. So for entry in September 2021, everyone will be asked to submit a recorded audition, and that will be in the form of an MP4 file, audio visual, so that we can see as well as hear you. When you apply, you'll be sent a OneDrive link, and you'll be asked to upload your recording by Monday, the 19th of October, 2020. You don't need to remember that date or write it down or worry about it, because when you apply, all that information will be sent out to you. And for string players, we're going to ask you to prepare 2 pieces in contrasting style and tempo, and you're advised to select pieces which allow you to demonstrate the full extent of your technical and expressive ability. And it's advised that you don't prepare pieces from pre-grade 8 syllabi, and that you only select current grade 8 pieces if they allow you to really be comfortable and demonstrate your full technical ability and sense of musicality. I would also stress that the information I've just given you is for undergraduate auditions. I'm not going to give postgraduate repertoire requirements, because they vary according to the course that you've applied for. So the advice there is, if you're a prospective postgraduate student, just email our auditions team, and they can send on any questions you've got about repertoire to us, and we'll get back to you personally. But also all of this advice will be on the website for you as well. And just to reassure you, if you're worried about the equipment that you're recording on, we're not going to judge you just because you've got only a phone available to record yourself. So we will be asking you to just let us know the equipment you've recorded on, and we'll be taking that into account and really looking at who you are as an artist, rather than judging you on the technical aspects of the recording in terms of the equipment you've used. The other thing to say is when you're writing your personal statement in preparation for audition, write in a way that makes you generate questions from the panel. So the second bit of the audition, when we've heard your video, we'll be inviting you to have a chat with Simon and a member of our music team. And your personal statement will help us to formulate some questions and to find out more about you. So when you're writing that personal statement, that's a great opportunity to really take control of the process. It's almost like you're writing your own exam questions. And bear in mind as well that for the interview, we're not trying to catch you out. We're trying to find out about you, what your hopes and aspirations for the future are, because our job is to mold the course around you and to find your professional shape in the future. And that's what makes conservatoire training so exciting. So if you've got any questions about that, just email the auditions team, admissions team, and we will get back to you personally. So that's probably enough from me for now. Thanks very much. Simon, back to you.
Thank you, Kevin. That was really, really well explained. Thank you. So the next part of this process is the questions. Now, thank you to those of you who sent questions in. I've got them all here. What I'm going to try and do is go through the questions that were submitted in advance. For the answers to these, it will mostly be me talking, but I'm going to probably ask a couple of the students and staff for specific ones, just so that you don't get too bored with the sound of my voice. And when we've been through those, I know people have been writing questions as we've been going, so thank you for that. We'll try and go through those as well. If there is not time, I'm not quite sure whether that's likely, but you are always welcome to email me, and there's almost no limit to the amount of time that I can answer questions and things, because we've got a long time before the auditions happen. So feel free to ask me questions. We can chat, we can email. There's no reason for you to be unclear about anything. Okay, so these questions are not necessarily in particular order. There were various questions about the number of hours tuition you get, and of course that's one of the most important things, because your relationship with your teacher is really crucial. Luckily, we have a fantastic staff base for strings. As much as possible, I try to match people with the teacher that's going to suit them. So there's often a big conversation beforehand. Sometimes people will have consultation lessons. Obviously, I can't always guarantee that you're going to get the teacher that you want. Depends how many spaces they've got and lots of other things. But the principal relationship is with your teacher, and you have 30 hours individual lessons for the first 3 years and then 35 for the fourth year. But with us, that's only the start, because your personal allocation is made up of a lot of different things. So on top of that, you will have studio classes, which is like a lesson, but your teachers, all of their students will be in the class with you. That's probably going to be four or five students at once. And you'll get probably another, it depends how many of you there are, but at least another 10 hours in the year, probably more than that. You also are allocated an accompanist, and I'm aware that not everywhere does this, but we think that's a really important relationship. So your accompanist will act as your coach as well, and will accompany you in lessons, in classes, in concerts, and in your recitals. So you build up that relationship. We have a particular accompanist for the first 2 years, then you change to a different accompanist for the rest of your course. We also have a fantastic harpsichordist, because that's another element of your course. You will experiment with things. I think one of the students alluded to this, that you won't necessarily have the chance to do elsewhere or at other times in your life. So you will have to do certain repertoire, Baroque repertoire, and you'll do that with a harpsichord. Classical repertoire you will do with a forte piano. It's not just a fantastic experience to play with these instruments, it also teaches you a lot about the style and performance practices of that music. So in addition to that, we have master classes. So everyone will be involved in master classes right from the first year. You will all get to play, and you will also get to play in showcases, which are like informal concerts which you get feedback for. You will have orchestral excerpt classes, you'll have scales classes. There's a lot of different interactions with the staff. This is important because it gives you a chance to work with lots of different members of the team. So whilst your relationship with your teacher is really important, you will also get to work with other teachers, which gives you different inputs. I think that's really valuable. Someone asked about studying 2 instruments. Now, officially, you can't have a joint principal study. We provide tuition on your principal instrument only. There are 2 sort of exceptions to that. One is people will often have voice lessons or piano lessons. You do have to fund those yourselves, but often you have lessons with other students, postgraduate students perhaps. The other exception is violinists who play the viola. Often we can provide a few lessons and certainly lots of opportunities to play the viola. And also with Baroque instruments, we can provide a certain number of Baroque classes. I do some of them, and Rachel Podge has already been mentioned. We have a lot of distinguished staff who come in and do projects on Baroque instruments. So that's yet another aspect of training. I think I saw a question flash up which relates to this next point. It's about the balance between what you do academically and performance-wise. I would encourage everybody as much as possible to not see the divide between academic and performance. I know that's easier said than done, and when you're sitting in your room with an essay title in front of you, you're probably not thinking of performance. But as much as possible, everything that you study and everything that you research can inform your performance. The more you understand about styles of music, the more you will be able to perform them in a really effective way. So the actual academic side of your course will be done mixing with all of the other departments. So when you do your psychology of music lectures, you'll be mixed with probably with students from lots of other different disciplines. But your performance work in the department obviously will just be with strings. So there's a bit of a distinction between the two. But the limit with any of this is you. The more that you put in, the more that you will get out. And we don't want anyone to overwork themselves, but it is a busy course. It's a fantastic course. You will learn so many skills that are transferable to all sorts of areas of life, and you will learn a lot about yourself as well. There's a question here about ensembles. Right at the beginning, within the first week, everyone will be put into a chamber ensemble. Obviously, the people who are coming back second, third years, whatever, often are already in an ensemble, but all of the first years, we will make sure that you're in an ensemble. That's not to say that you have to stay in that, because throughout, it's amazing how quickly it happens each year. People arrive on day 1 all looking a little bit lost, and about day 3 everyone looks as though they've known each other for the last 5 years. The process of making friends is incredibly quick, so trust me on that. I've seen it every year for the last 16 years. And so you might be put into a group which by week 3 you decide you'd rather be in a group with X, Y, and Z, which is absolutely fine, as long as you're doing something, because chamber music is a vital skill. It teaches you to play either in an orchestra, the same sort of ensemble skills, or even just playing with a keyboard player, just listening, playing together, interactive, collaborative music making. I just want to check that, am I talking too much? Is this okay? Right. Oh yes, do you get an opportunity to play with students from other departments? Absolutely. I do think one of the strengths of our college is, time and again people say how friendly it is, and it really is. It was the reason that I came to work here. Immediately I came through the door, I thought, this is fantastic. And there are not barriers between different departments. I often have students who say, please can I go and do something with the jazz department? Absolutely. The head of jazz is really cool, as you would expect. And she has often just said to people, come in and play, come in and improvise. Composition is another department that we often work with. Had students composing their own recital repertoire. Also, we have, there's obviously a lot of chamber music that involves other instruments, woodwind instruments, brass, harp, and we really encourage that. Also, piano trios, that's the obvious one, or working with singers. Again, the more you can do, the more you will learn. There was an interesting question here, and I would like actually to bring Misha in if I could, because someone asked, is it possible to study drama, theatre and dance alongside music? So I don't have the name of whoever asked this, obviously someone with a huge amount of energy. And so Misha, can you maybe comment on that?
Yeah, so I study cello, but alongside I did do an acting foundation in the first year, which happened every Sunday. So not only was I in college 9 to 5, they had the joy of seeing me as well on the Sunday, 10 till 4. Everything's possible if you make it possible. Like, college is full on, but it can be done. And Cardiff also has as a city, offers lots of opportunities too. So I also managed to squeeze in my contemporary dance that I did every Tuesday. And like Simon was saying, crossing over with other departments, I had opportunities with the jazz department as well. And that's what the college for me has been amazing with, is that it caters for all my needs and wants to keep catering that. So if that's answered that question.
Thank you. Yeah, I mean, certainly I really admire people when they step slightly outside the box. It doesn't mean you have to, but if you want to, there's that freedom to do that. And explore your own creativity. That's especially nowadays, and probably even more so after recent events. I think becoming your own artist and fulfilling your own pathway, and that, to me, is the strength from what I see of our college. The way the BMUS course and the postgraduate course are structured, it allows you to play to your strengths and choose options which are going to create a pathway for you through into your eventual career. Question here about early music. Yes, obviously that's my great love. There are options to play Baroque instruments. We have a lot of instruments that we can lend out. Lessons can be provided. We do operate as much as possible Baroque chamber music and Baroque ensemble. Rachel Podger is more and more involved with what we're doing. She's actually been, during lockdown, been doing weekly classes for us, and she did one yesterday on rhetoric, which was fantastic. And she does bow classes called Boga classes, rather cornily, but they're fantastic. Early music, yes. It's a really important thing. We all play Baroque music, we all play classical music, and so it's part of the core study of the department, learning what the style implies and involves, and that's, you can take that really seriously if you want. Lottie said everyone gets to play in a viol consort from the second year, which you may not even know what a viol is, but I encourage you to go and look at it. It's phenomenally successful. Even more than I thought. We have at any one time about a quarter of the department playing the viol, because if you like it, we have a very kind lady that funds lessons, and you can have lessons for free for the whole of your course. We've had our viol consort going and doing festivals and concerts and all sorts of things outside college, so that's fun. Are there tutorials in conducting? I believe conducting is one of the options you can choose in the third year. Correct me if I'm wrong, but it's not actually part of the string course as such. Although, again, if you're proactive, there is a first year cellist, not anyone here today, who is conducting a symphony orchestra, and that he's put together himself. I know there was a viola player last year in Repco who conducted a symphony orchestra project. You know, if you've got big ideas, then we'll support you in doing them. Actually, there's a couple of questions here which I don't quite know about. I'm going to pass them on, but we may have to do some research on this. Somebody said, having studied in Argentina with a different education system, what requirements would there be to apply? And possibly linked to that is a degree, a music teacher's degree in the Patagonian University Institute. Is that relevant in the UK? I don't know if Kevin or Tim can come in on that.
I'd say, Simon, in your application, pass on all of that information to admissions, and then we can run it through our team, our academic staff. We can look at those requirements and the kind of credits that they carry, and then get back to you with a personal response. So, in fact, if you want to know before you actually apply, just email the admissions team with all of the information, and we'll look at it very carefully and get back to you personally.
Thank you. That's brilliant. There's and this will probably go also to the person who said, if you're home educated, would we consider A-level music and other areas of study rather than 2 other A-levels? I'm pretty sure that we will. But again, if you want to be absolutely sure, then email admissions. They're very good at getting back to people. We're nearly through the questions. I'm just checking I haven't missed anything up here. Range of opportunities, ensembles. Oh yes, orchestral training, postgraduate course. Yes, this is a few years old, 3 or 4 years old. It's a fantastic course because if you get onto it, you automatically get to do placements with both orchestras. The orchestral leaders or principals will be on the audition panel, and you will have to play not just a concerto exposition, but also a selection of excerpts which will be sent to you, and these will need to be, you'll be asked questions about them, possibly asked to play them in different ways. It's quite demanding to get onto this course, but you will work with, as I say, the section principals and or leaders of the orchestra and get a lot of mentoring. The people who've done this course so far have done very well, and many of them are now working professionally in the orchestral scene. So I can tell you more about that if you would like to contact me, and you can do that through admissions. They will pass anything on. The final 2 questions are about auditions. Somebody asked what level of viola playing should they have. Kevin said this, and he put it very well. I'm not sure I can add much to it. That we're not expecting somebody to come to audition and blow us back against the wall, figuratively speaking, with their sheer brilliance. I mean, it's very, very nice if you do, but actually what we're looking for people who are collaborative musicians, who are going to come into the department and they're going to play well, but they're going to get on with people. They're going to do chamber music. They're going to go into the orchestras, because the string department, the ethos is one of support and friendship. I think it's really, really important that we have that ethos, because the profession is actually very competitive and it's changing all the time, especially at the moment. And I think we need to be supportive of each other, and you've got to be allowed to try things. You've got to be allowed to fail, because failing is incredibly important. I'm quite an expert in failure, I have to say. I've failed at all sorts of things, but when you fail, you try and you come back and you get better. So I think that what your level of playing is, obviously there is a level below which you're not going to be able to cope with the course. It's not just a question of coming and being really keen and really lovely and it doesn't matter how well you play. Generally speaking, we sort of tend to talk about grade 8+. Some people who audition have got diplomas. Some people, you know, haven't yet taken grade 8. It just depends. And I have seen all sorts of things in my time here. I've seen people come in who have, well, may not been struggling, but almost struggling to get to the level, and they have left and gone on to great things. I mean, I genuinely have seen that several times. So you never judge people completely on how they are. It's a combination of what you're like now and what you potential you show. So you can contact me and ask me more specifically. You're welcome to send me a video of you playing informally. Any of those things I'm very happy to do. Audition advice, again, Kevin said it, don't try and play something to impress unless you're absolutely sure you can play it, because no one impresses anyone by not playing something as well as they can. Play something that you love and show why you love it. We want musicality, we want communication. Kevin also said we're not trying to catch anyone out. You know, in your personal statement, don't try and make yourself sound like you know, the greatest person ever, because you don't have to do that. Just tell us what interests you, what fascinates you, what you've done, what sort of things you want to do. That's what we're interested in, and we're not going to try and catch you out. We want you to come and have a good time.
Can I say, Simon?
Yes,
Sorry.
Tim.
I just wanted to say on the note of auditions, I think it's really easy to just think that we on the panel, or whoever is on the panel, is there looking to eliminate people.
Yes.
We're not. We're looking to admit people. We're looking to work with people. We're looking for people that we just get that feeling that we're going to have a good working relationship with you. We're going to be able to support your journey. So just go into, when you're sending in your recording, just put everything you've got into it. Play as you want to play. Play as if nobody's listening to you or nobody's watching, and create something that you're really proud of. And we just want to work with the best people out there. So I think it's just really easy sometimes to think that a panel is there looking for faults so that we can tick boxes to say no, no, no. We want to say yes, yes, yes. And I think that just change of mindset might help. Thanks, Simon.
Thank you. Thanks, Tim. That's absolutely right. Yeah.
We are running out of time. There are a few questions that have come in the inbox. Somebody would like to know about the balance between performing, practicing, and the academic side of things, and the more modern contemporary activities. Right.
So I think I probably talked a little bit about the balance of performance and practical, performance and academic. Is that what you said?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. The academic side of it is sufficient for the degree part of the process, that you will learn in the first year. It's about core skills like harmony and oral, nothing too outrageously difficult, but just to make sure that everyone's on the same page with that sort of thing. Learning about core pieces of history, learning about being healthy when you practice, being healthy when you're, you know, being a professional and being a student. Lots of sort of common sense stuff, and as you go on, you can develop your interests by taking modules that accord to your eventual career path aims, but the predominant part of the course will nearly always, for most people, be performance, because you're expected to practice quite a lot in order to get through the things that you have to do, because each year you will have certain repertoire that you have to cover, whether that be a classical concerto, a romantic concerto, a baroque sonata, a classical sonata, and lots of other chamber music and orchestral things that you do. So inevitably that's a great part. But still, by the time you get to the fourth year, quite a lot of students have decided that they maybe want to go off into arts management or something like that, and they will write dissertations and they will lessen their performance. They will take a smaller module for chamber music and performance, whereas other people will go out all guns blazing for performance. So it doesn't mean because you're coming to a conservatoire that you necessarily have to leave as a number one performer. It's about a general medical, I don't know where that came from, musical education. And I'm sorry, what was the other part of the question, Lou?
The modern contemporary activities
Contemporary.
students
Yeah,
might be involved in.
That's something that we're trying to encourage a lot more through links with the composition department, performing music that the composers have written, but also we have specialists in contemporary repertoire on the staff. Everyone has to do a post-1960s work in the third year, and there are classes about contemporary techniques. If this is something that particularly interests you, then you have the freedom within the curriculum to explore that yourself as well.
We have a question about the size of the rooms in halls, maybe for the students possibly. Is it big enough to practice cello, and about keeping instruments safe? Does anyone want to come in on this?
I'm happy to talk about that one.
Thank you, Misha.
I never actually did practice in my halls, only because I didn't like practicing where I slept, I guess, and where I worked and things. But it is possible. I actually have done a rehearsal with 3 cellos in my halls room. It was a squeeze, but it worked. But like I said, like Jordan said as well, there's lots of practice rooms, but it is possible to practice in your halls.
And they're presumably pretty secure, the rooms?
Yeah, there's a lock on them, every door. So.
Okay.
And we have the instrument store at college as well.
Yes.
Use our instruments. We also have a question about assessments, how they're carried out and how often they take place.
Assessments. Well, assessments are a constantly changing thing. We are always trying to find ways to make the assessments fit more smoothly into your general experience. So, for example, technicals, where you have to play your scales and arpeggios, which is what everyone loves doing, technicals. And we always used to do those as an exam in the 3rd or 4th week of the 2nd term. Everyone coming into the room individually and playing. This last year we experimented where you practiced your scales, and when you were ready to do them, you recorded them with your teacher in a lesson and submitted them that way. So they became more of an organic part of your study. The biggest part of the assessment is the recital at the end of the year, which gets longer and more involved as you go through the course. There are other assessments such as chamber music assessments and orchestral excerpts assessments, and obviously essays and presentations that you do on the more academic side of things. You're kept busy. It's not something for the faint-hearted. I think any conservatoire degree it certainly puts you through your paces, but at the end of it you come out very strong with such a huge amount of experience. So hopefully that answers that one.
We have questions about consultation lessons and advice lessons. I know we offer consultation lessons after an offer to study is made. And as I understand it, you can purchase music lessons through our junior conservatoire, but we are not currently able to offer advice lessons prior to application with specialist teachers.
Did you say advice lessons?
Yes, people like to have advice lessons prior to an application. Some conservatoires do offer this, but it's not been something that we've been able to offer.
Well, I think what I would say, I mean, obviously I don't want to say anything that goes against something that's officially put out there, but I think that whilst we're not able to provide things necessarily in as much as we don't pay to do this prior to offers, if anyone wants to talk to me about the teachers, then please just get in touch. And there's absolutely nothing to stop you contacting the teacher beforehand and finding out and trying things out with them. If you would like to do that, I'm certainly happy to help that, if that answers that question.
We also have a question about the opportunities to compose if you're a cellist.
Well, that's an interesting one as well. We've got a graduating cellist who's won various competitions composing and is going on probably more into a future as a composer. We've got there are composition modules, composition and arranging. if you want to take it more seriously, goes back to what I was saying earlier on about the fact that there aren't really very many walls between the departments. The head of composition is very inclusive and often will let people come and sit in classes that he does. This has been the case with a few people actually over the last year from the string department. And I do remember a few years ago, as I mentioned earlier, a student composed his final recital program for violin and electronics and various different people doing it. It was fantastic. So if composition is your thing and you want to combine it, then it is possible.
We have a question about solo opportunities for viola as well.
Solo opportunities for viola. Well, huge number of opportunities. We've got our, I don't know how many masterclasses we've had during lockdown, but it's been a lot. We've got another one this afternoon for viola. We have a lot of opportunities for the violas, but for all instruments as well. I think that's one of our strengths. I would be amazed if any other conservatoire offered anything like as many opportunities to perform as we do. That's because that's what I set out to do. As a performer myself, I think that you learn best through doing, and so if you want to perform, there are informal concerts, formal concerts, master classes, all sorts of things. You just have to keep asking, you'll keep getting the chances.
We have a question about the viol consort. Is it available to postgrads as well as undergrads?
Absolutely, yes. Anyone who wants to play the viol will get the opportunity. We've got a sort of internationally renowned viol scholar who comes in and teaches the viol, so we're very lucky with that.
We've had a request to be invited to the viola masterclass today.
Oh, in terms of the safeguarding and things, I've absolutely no idea. I mean, in theory, yes. Perhaps I need some advice on whether we're allowed to do that.
Perhaps if you're interested in that, email admissions directly, and we will check it with our academic colleagues and get back to you and let you know.
Certainly that sort of thing. I like that idea very much. If it weren't to be possible today, because the class is at 2, so there's not an awful lot of time to check, there will be another one slightly later on in the summer with the same person, and you know, it might be easier to organise for that one, but either way, yes.
Email us directly and we'll look into it for you.
Sure.
We have a few questions, and these will be the last ones that we're able to take. If you have any more, please email admissions directly. They are relating to the applications. We have someone asking if the audition recordings need to have an accompanist. No, they don't. But you will find full guidance published over the summer. We also have somebody asking whether or not you have to have A-levels to apply for the BEMAs. You don't necessarily have to have A-levels, but you do need to have a level 3 qualification or be in the final year of completing it. It's an undergraduate degree and that is a standard requirement. If you need further clarification on qualifications, please email admissions directly. Somebody has also asked about they've not been able to take their grade 8 examination due to COVID-19.
Sure.
That will not affect your chances of getting an audition. We do not expect candidates to have their grade 8 by the time they apply to us or audition necessarily.
Yeah, that's a good point, Lou. Really, the grade 8 is a nice indicator, but you might not have any grades at all, but it doesn't mean you won't get in.
That's all the questions. Again, if you have any more, please email admissions directly. Thank you very much for joining us today. Does anybody have any comments they want to wrap up with?
I'd just like to say that it is a strange time, as we all know, probably getting bored with everyone telling you how strange it is. But actually having a chance to do something like this is really nice because we get to share what we do in a slightly different way. and I'm really grateful to my students for coming and being part of this, because they are the reason that we all do this, and they're fantastic. And every year we have so many fantastic highlights, and we have 4 wonderful students here who've all achieved so much. Each of them I can remember memorable performances and things that they've done, and I just recommend this to any of you. And thank you to Tim, and thank you to Kevin for leading us through all of this.
Thank you very much, Simon, for everything you've done, and to everyone. Yeah, hope to see you soon, guys.
Good luck.